Welcome to Shining Bright, the FarmHer radio show all about women doing great things. Women who are making the ordinary extraordinary. Women following their passion, taking action, and making a difference for themselves and others. Join me, Marji, as your host on Shining Bright by FarmHer. Hello, we are excited to be with you today. This is Marji, and here in the studio I've got Carly.
Hello.
And Lexi.
Hey.
Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for being here. We've got a fun show queued up. We're doing things a little different, putting ourselves outside of our comfort zone here today in many ways.
Yes.
And we have a show where we're going to talk about county fairs. It's county fair season, so we thought this was a real applicable topic right now, number one. But we're going to be talking about specifically livestock shows at county fairs and some of the community that goes along with it all, because I know you both grew up much closer to it than I did. I had some experience. We'll talk about that later. Stay tuned if everyone wants a little laugh. But you both grew up around it. It was your lives, and it still is in many ways. So it'll be an interesting show. And then we're going to have a caller, Amy Tlach, who is just an awesome woman, and she's got young girls who are involved in the show industry now. And she even gave me a few tips on how to show a heifer and a steer. So we'll talk about that again later as well. But for our joke, what do you call a sheep covered in chocolate? There's my clicks.
A dirty sheep.
A sheep that needs a bath. A candy bar.
That's pretty good.
You could just stare at me. Yeah. Well, I thought it was kind of funny, but let's hope that, like I said, none of the sheep at these shows will be covered in chocolate. That would be weird. So here's another one when I was looking up about fairs and kind of the origins of fairs. I mean, it goes back a long ways. It comes from Europe. But early fair facts, someone named Elkanah Watson, who was a New England farmer, was called the father of agricultural fairs because he organized the Berkshire Agriculture Society and a cattle show in September of 1811. So that's over 200 years ago, well over 200 years ago.
I wonder how he actually came up with the concept. If it was done on a farm before, or how they even came up with it.
Yeah, I don't know. But it says that the tradition of the showing and the contest part goes way back. And it talks about the prize money being $70, which...
That has to be so much.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Translated to today, I mean, I'd come up with some livestock to go show probably.
Yeah. Lexi, what is a typical premium now?
Yeah. If you win.
So it just depends on the show and if you win. So Iowa State Fair, I mean, they can bring tens of thousands of dollars, but county fairs, sometimes it's just market price or a little bit above. So I would guess $70. We should convert that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Like I said, it might even prompt me to come up with a sheep to go show or something.
With chocolate on it?
Yeah. That would only make the pot go up for me.
Yeah. I find it so interesting that it was in New England. And I guess maybe that's because people were living there. But a lot of the shows date back to stockyards and market and going to market. So I wonder if there's a stockyard in Pittsburgh?
Probably. I mean, I would imagine that there was far more of them at some point, back then, because agriculture was such a large part of our economy.
Yeah, there's got to be a celebration around it, I would think, still today. So if you know anything, just give us a shout out on social media or something.
Hashtag FarmHer.
Report back.
Yeah. Yeah. So on that note too, the National Western Show, I know, Lexi, you and your family have gone to the show for many years, and it's a big part of what you guys do, but it's a big livestock show in Denver, right? And yes. I saw that the first show there took place in 1898, and it ended in a deadly riot.
That is so funny. I really hope that would never happen.
I hope not either, but it says the pandemonium was over free beer and meat.
It might happen now.
It could happen. Depends on what time of the day.
You guys will get a picture. I'll be starting a riot.
How hangry am I? I'm going to run to the free beer and meat tent.
Yeah, my family's gone for years, and it's right in the base of the mountains, right off the railroad. So actually, if you take the Amtrak out there, you'll drive through the stockyards and see all the cattle before it ends at Union Station. And there is a lot of beer. And Coors, because Coors is right there. There's a lot of meat. Yeah, so Coors Light is a big sponsor because their factory's right out there. And I'll report back if that ever happens. I think I'll run far away.
Take pictures.
Yeah.
Video. We need video of it. Here's another fact that I thought was interesting. Each year, the Grand Champion steer is brought into the lobby of the Brown Palace Hotel and Spa in Denver, where it eats hay from a silver platter, drinks water from a silver bowl, and has its eyelashes curled and coat brushed out.
Oh, yeah. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful hotel, and they have to coat the floor so when it poops, it doesn't ruin anything.
Yeah. Well, that and its curly eyelashes. Like whoever curled the eyelashes of a cow or a steer, sorry.
That would be a huge eyelash curler.
Yeah.
How do they actually do it?
Well, I don't know if they do.
Well,
that's crazy.
Ladies, thank you so much. This has been a fun first segment talking about these show things. We've got more coming up with Amy Tlach here in just a little bit.
Hey, it's Nikki Glazer.
And Tom Takar.
Monday through Thursday mornings, we're not asking you if you're up, we're telling you.
You are!
We are two best friends who are comedians talking all things comedy,
Celebrity dirt.
our personal lives, your personal lives,
Dating tips.
anything that we want to.
You name it, we're going to cover it.
Listen, you don't need friends when you have us, truly.
We'll serve it up hotter than the cup of coffee you spilled on yourself.
On You Up with Nikki Glazer. Monday through Thursday mornings,
10 a.m. East, 7 a.m. West.
only on Comedy Central Radio, Sirius XM
95.
Well, it's a Saturday night polka party every Saturday night, of course. Hi, this is Jimmy Sturr, inviting you to join me every Saturday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And by the way, they repeat the same show Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. This is Jimmy Sturr, inviting you to join me every Saturday for the Saturday night polka party, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for listening to the Saturday night polka party right here on Rural Radio on channel 147 on Sirius XM.
The world's biggest rodeo just got bigger and better. RFT-TV's The American is now 2 days, March 2nd and 3rd, with more fan-friendly activities and a new event, Breakaway Roping. To get your tickets, go to AmericanRodeo.com.
And we are back here on Shining Bright. We have a fun episode queued up for you, talking about things that are near and dear to, I know, Lexi's heart and Carly's heart, and mine too, because I get involved in agriculture in so many ways. But it's kind of a different part of the agriculture world than I've ever really experienced. So it's a fun show to get to talk about. But anyway, livestock showing is a very big part of agriculture, and it brings kids into it at an early age. For both of you, my question to you, did it put you outside of your comfort zone early? When did you first show a pig, Lexi?
I was 5, and I don't remember all of it because I was so young.
Yeah.
But yes, I definitely do remember being nervous. And actually, my dad was like in the ring with me and kind of helped me out. And it was outside my comfort zone, but I quickly learned to love it.
Yeah. What about you, Carly?
I came at it from a different stance. So my family was in commercial hog production. So we did farrow to finish. And we only got into it because we had hogs in the county. So show hogs weren't our thing. But my dad was swine superintendent. So I got into it about 5th grade. Had a couple of champions. I was never up on top, but it was always fun. And it did take me way out of my comfort zone, especially when doing showmanship and things like that.
Which this sounds a little harsh of me, but with kids who are about that age, for both of you, of where you started, I'm all for putting them outside of their comfort zones. Like, I think that needs to happen.
Oh, it's the best. And I definitely remember, actually, I just shared my Des Moines Register story was all about this experience. And I kind of remember at some points in times when I wanted to stop because there was other things than, scooping poop and doing chores that I wanted to be doing with my time. And my parents really never let me. They gave me flexibility in my schedule, but I quickly learned that it was really good for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's life, right? The things that are usually good for you are the things that someone else has to kind of push you along.
And you hate to say it, but parents often know best.
They do. They do. That's for sure. So both of your shows, I'm guessing, started with county fairs. I mean, I know you said yours did, Carly. I assume yours was, Lexi. It wasn't all the way to a different show early on, or was it? It was a different show. It wasn't a county fair.
Yeah, so in Iowa, you can't actually show at your county fair until 4th grade.
Oh.
So I showed for a lot of years before I could ever show at the county fair.
Okay. Wow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Lesson learned
so
there.
I started at the Iowa State Fair.
Okay. Well, it's county fair season here in Iowa. I know that different parts of the country have it in different times. But it's county fair season here. I just took my kids last week to the Dallas County Fair. It was their first year to have a project exhibited there, but I love county fairs. I mean, we always went to the county fair when I was a kid, and it's a little bit, I was in a urban based 4-H club. So the Polk County Fair is actually really different. It is more just about the livestock show, but then the other parts of the fair aren't really there. So on that note, what's your favorite part of your home county fair?
My favorite part, and I might be sharing this a little too early, but is the community around it. Right now is our county fair in Iowa. And we actually, some of my relatives had their mom pass away, and they were really involved in the county fair. And she just recently passed away. And the bank put together a surprise fund for the boys, and they got awarded it today. I haven't heard a whole lot yet about how it went. But they put together a big pot, and they were going to bid it up to that. So it was a surprise for the boys. So that's really my favorite part, is the community that goes around any county fair.
Yeah, it all pulls together.
I just got goosebumps. That's so cool that happened. And good opportunity for those boys to be reminded that the community is supporting them. And I would say that is definitely my favorite. It is my county is going on right now as well. And this is the first year in my entire life that I haven't been there. But I just found some pictures of my sisters. I have 3, and I at the backdrop from, the very beginning and how much we've grown. And then the last picture we took was last year. We didn't get one this year. So next year that'll be a priority. And just watching people grow within the county, whether it be my sisters or their friends, or there's also through 4-H and FFA, really great opportunities to mentor youth. And there's been a lot of kids that I remember, working with them at day camps, and now they're showing. And although I might be done, I still support them and love seeing what they've learned and how they've grown.
Yeah, it is cool. It's a whole different community. And I've talked about this before, I know, on this show. Especially for us, we live we're not rural here, but we're not urban either. And so my kids go to school in one town, but then the county fair is in another town that is like a whole different school. And so they have different groups of kids that they get to be around, which again is, I think, so important, because while we aren't rural, we still have a school that seems like a little capsule sometimes, right? And it's like, there's more world out there, So I love them getting to go to that fair and see what other kids are doing. Kids that my kids we don't live on a farm. And so my kids show up in their little clean tennis shoes and stuff. And I'm like, look at all these kids out here. They've got their boots on. They're out here working. There is a whole world of people right around us that you may not always see.
Well, and the kids that you met in 4th grade when you joined 4-H, and I'm still friends with them, and we can look back and laugh, and I'll be like, hey, Brad, remember when you told me you liked me at the county fair? And now we're good friends. But yeah, we didn't go to school together, and we ended up going to college together, but he just lived down the road, and we went to the county fair together. Yeah. And that was a start of so many friendships.
It is.
That was the nice part, especially having that community when you go to college. Of those ag kids, we only had 5 kids in my senior class, FFA class.
Oh, but I was total?
No,
Hold on.
Only 60. So it was a really small school. But being able to surround yourself with those people that have your same passion when you go to college. And then now I'm working with a lot of them out in the industry. So it's always fun to see where you've come from and watch those kids grow up to now.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking to Amy Tlach. And when I hear it in the next segment, and when I think about people getting involved, I mean, you just talked about how important it is to give that time back and being involved in those different things. We were somewhere, I don't know if it was the Iowa State Fair last year, and this lady comes up to me and she looked really familiar, but I couldn't place it. And that happens to me a lot because I don't know my brain. Too many people. And she said, Marji, I'm Lola Zimmerman. It was my 4-H leader, all the way through.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And she had been following FarmHer and she loved it. And I was like, well, hello, this is awesome. And she's somebody, even though we've all aged, right? And I didn't just recognize her right off the bat, but I knew her name and I remember what a big part she played in my life. And because she took the time to be that person, which was cool.
volunteers, I feel like, make up organizations like 4-H and FFA and really make the fairs and livestock shows go around. And I am excited to talk to Amy about what her involvement is. And when I think about talking to her, then I go to her girls, and she's got 2 girls, 16 and 14, I think their ages are. So they're younger. But when I talk about watching people grow up, those girls come to mind. And they showed cattle a lot, and now they're showing pigs. And now that I'm technically retired from showing pigs
at the old age of 23.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wait, when did you retire?
21.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
It's killer. But those girls live so close, and I'm able to go out to their farm and hang out with them and make sure that they're achieving the goals that they want to achieve. So it's all about growth and network, and it's just good. Puts a smile on your face.
Yeah, they're awesome young women. I got the chance to meet them last year too. So, where there's awesome young women, there's an awesome mom there somewhere engaged,
Absolutely.
Right? So it'll be a treat to talk to her. Well, thank you everybody for listening. And we want to invite you to join our FarmHerd journey. First off, you can watch the TV show on Fridays and Sundays at 9:30 Eastern, only on RFD TV. And be sure to visit us at FarmHer.com to hear the stories, learn about the FarmHer events that we have, read the blogs, and of course, check out all of our merchandise. And when you're there, be sure to sign up for our mailing list to stay in the know. We'll be right back with Shining Bright.
Don't sleep on today. There's a world to conquer. Don't sleep on yesterday. No need to dwell on the past. Sleep on tomorrow, the highest rated mattress on the internet. Tomorrow Sleep products are designed by the world's leading sleep experts for deep, uninterrupted sleep. Want to feel like you're sleeping in the clouds? For $125 off plus 2 free pillows, use promo code RFDBED at tomorrowsleep.com or call 888-51-SLEEP.
The Market Day Report. 5 hours of news that matters to rural America.
The markets, the lifeblood of information for farmers and ranchers.
Global markets are really in turmoil yet again today.
We try to dig deeper into the reasons behind the trade.
When this thing starts to turn around, you better look out.
And a weather report tailored to fit the needs of family farmers.
Very active weather day across a majority of rural America.
Market Day Report, weekdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern on Rural Radio 147.
I'm Marlon Bowling.
And I'm John Jenkinson, your hosts for Commodity Wrap. Join us each weekday morning at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, as we preview the day's trade ahead of the opening bell.
And every evening at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, recapping the day's commodity price movements along with live interviews from the trading floor and respected analysts from all around the country.
We're gathering the news and insights you need to stay ahead of the curve and protect your bottom line.
On Commodity Wrap on Rural Radio, your trusted market authority.
Hi, everybody. This is Steve Kenyon from Rural Radio Sirius XM Channel 147's Western Sports Roundup, inviting you to join us for the latest in Western sports news every weekday afternoon here on Rural Radio. We talk about rodeo, bull riding, reining and cutting horses, barrel racing, and team roping. And we'd love your questions and comments. 855-7766. 147 is our phone number. Western Sports Roundup, weekday afternoons, 3 in the west, 6 in the east, on Rural Radio Sirius XM Channel 147 and on the Sirius XM app.
And we are back here on Shining Bright, and we've been talking county fairs, all kinds of fun, livestock shows, all the good summer stuff. But I guess livestock shows aren't just in the summer, because Lexi willingly goes to Denver in January, where it's cold.
No, it's usually nicer there than here.
Yeah, it is. They're
higher,
stronger sun.
Yeah,
they're closer to it, right?
That's the only time I take vacation.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous, but.
So last year I had something kind of fun come onto my radar. The Warren County Fair is another fair here in central Iowa. And through my connection with Amy, who we're going to talk to in a little bit, she asked me to go judge the photo contest, which is something near and dear to my heart because I always entered stuff in the photo contests. That was kind of my first love of photography, was back in 4-H. And so Amy asked me to come judge that, and I did, and it was fun, and it was kind of weird to be on the other side of it. Like, I felt kind of harsh judging people's stuff. And then afterwards, they came up to me and were like, "Why did you judge it like this?" Yeah, a few people did, and I was like, I had an answer, but it was kind of interesting.
Competitor 101. It's the judge's opinion. Just accept it.
I think that they were trying to get some constructive criticism so that they knew okay, this is what I could do better. And so, it was I think good from that perspective. But it was a neat experience and it was fun. So I think we're going to be bringing Amy in here. Amy, hello. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys this morning?
We're good. We're good. Well, I'm speaking for Lexi and Carly too, but
we're good.
It's a group effort.
Yeah. So I was just telling everybody about my little trip to the Warren County Fair. And one thing, we talked about this earlier behind the scenes of when I got to the fair, your girls gave me a little tour around and I said, what's the thing that I need to see first? And they were like, the 5-legged cow. And I was like, what? And so we went and we looked at the cow with 5 legs, and Carly said, that's normal. And I said, I don't think to me, I don't see that very often, but it was a little cow as a calf, I guess. And it had a 5th leg and it was right there on its back. It was like just there. It didn't bother it or anything. So we took pictures.
Yeah, that year, that seemed to be the highlight for a lot of the fair goers.
Yeah.
I did ask your girls, Amy, when I saw them last week, how the 5-legged cow was doing, and they didn't really know. So I'm kind of wanting an update there.
Yeah. Yeah, we should probably get some follow-up on that.
To be continued.
I doubt it'll be back at the fair. I think that was like a 1-year thing.
I came back and told Lexi about it, and she was like, "Oh, somebody else I know like Snapchatted it already. Like she already knew about it." So you're right; it was a highly talked about piece of the fair. But
it definitely was a social media highlight for the year. I don't know if that's good or bad, but
I know I'm still questionable. I'm like, should I be talking about this or should I not? I don't know, but it was there. So anyway, Amy, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Well, we live in south central Iowa, south of Des Moines, about 15 or 20 miles. Pretty lucky to be where we are, I think, especially right now to raise our family here. My husband and I are both from pretty close. We went away and then came back, I guess you would say, but still didn't even go very far at that point. We have 2 girls who are 15 and 12, so we're right in the heat of almost teenage years. We'll have 2 teenagers in September, which is exciting, I guess, for for everybody. Barry and I are lucky to have a Pioneer Seed dealership. We have a great group of customers that we work with and sell seed and chemicals. We also have a pretty good, decent-sized cow-calf herd. We try to encourage our girls to, live the ag life, I guess you would say, and be good stewards and advocates for all those things that we make our living doing. The girls are hot and heavy into 4-H season right now and showing and preparing for, county fair and state fair and all the fun stuff that we get to do this fall with them as well as they take their projects where they've been working all year to get them. So pretty exciting. We also, Barry and I are 4-H leaders, so we get to, I spent most of my morning this morning talking to moms and dads and some kids even about projects and all those things that they're getting ready for this week. Our 4-H exhibit Judge Day in the 4-H building, I guess you would say, is Saturday. So that's top of mind at this point, but exciting times.
We were just, it is exciting times. There's a lot of anticipation and hopefully this cool weather sticks with you a little bit too, because that's always fun when it gets super hot. But
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll cross our fingers for that.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could arrange that.
Yeah. Well, earlier we were talking about kind of the community around fairs and how important people like you are in kind of that continuing education for young people as far as how they're engaged in agriculture. So you said you're a 4-H leader. Have you been doing that for a long time?
Actually, this is our first year. I guess you would say maybe it's kind of our first year at our second run of being 4-H leaders. When Barry and I were fresh out of college, we were the senior 4-H leaders, I guess, at that point in our county. Senior 4-H, and we had county council at that point. So we had, I guess you would say high school age kids from all across the county that we got to work with, and it was, a great time in our life because we did that and we enjoyed it, and we, as our family grew, we kind of stepped away from that. But our second run, I guess, at being 4-H leaders is happening now. So we actually have an inaugural club this year in our county, which is happens quite often in our county just because of the number of 4-H'ers that we have. But yeah, we started something fresh this year, and we're pretty, I guess you would call it, out of the gate with saying, we're going to focus on agriculture and, livestock projects and things like that in our club this year. So we, wanted people to know right out of the gate what we were going to do and what our goals were, and it's been a great success. So we grew.
That's awesome.
We grew much faster. We have, I think we're up to 23 kids. So we started with my girls and my niece and nephew, and it exploded, which is a good thing.
Amy, you read my mind. I was going to ask how many kids were involved in. And that brings me back up. My club was a new club when I started it, and it got really big really quick because everyone had like siblings and kids, and now we're one of the smallest again. We need to do some recruiting back home, I've been told. We went from the biggest to the smallest because in about 5 years, everyone graduated. Yeah. Yep. But it's always so exciting.
Yep. So I'm sorry. That cycle is pretty common, I think, because we've had the same thing. We have the 2 or 3 in each family that have joined us, and we're so excited to have different families and things like that. But you're right; they're close enough in age that once one starts to graduate and work their way out, you have to recruit some new little people to join you. That 4th, 5th grade age. So there's a funny cycle in 4-H clubs.
Before we go to break, would you give us a rundown on everything your girls are taking to the fair?
Oh gosh, as of this morning, we were looking at rubber cement to make sure it was drying on some different projects that they're working on. As 4-H moms know, this time of year you get up early and check to make sure things are drying and ready to go. They are taking heifers to the state fair, county fair, so they'll show breeding heifers. One of them is taking a market hog. The other one is taking a market hog and a breeding gilt. In the 4-H exhibit building, they are each taking photographs. One has 2 and one has 3. So the rubber cement drying is on the maps that we did on those. Yeah. Cheers to the photos, right? And you'd be proud of them, too, because they're definitely ag focus in all of them.
That's awesome.
And
That's
they also
awesome.
have done...
Amy, we do have to go to break here. Oh, Amy, we do have to go to break here. That's okay, but we're going to keep the conversation going. Everyone stick with us. We'll be right back on Shining Bright.
How can you maximize yield and profits on your farm? Hi, I'm Darren Hefty. On the Ag PhD radio show, we talk about all the ways you can get the most return on investment for the crops on your farm. Our guests are farmers and experts in the industry, and we discuss the latest innovations in fertility, crop production, seed traits, and much more. We also answer your questions live via phone, email, or Twitter. Don't miss the next Ag PhD radio show, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central on Rural Radio Sirius XM Channel 147.
Hi, I'm Bob Phillips, and every week on Texas Country Reporter, we wind our way down the back roads, finding the places and the people that truly make Texas one of a kind. So hop in and travel with me every weekend at 10 a.m. Sunday on Rural Radio, Channel 147, exclusively on Sirius XM.
Hi, I'm Ag Day host Clinton Griffiths, and I invite you to join me each morning as we cover the nation's food system, from fields of green to orchards of orange and livestock everywhere in between. America runs on agriculture, and here at Ag Day, agriculture is what we do best. Listen as our analysts track the markets, learn about innovations in technology and sustainability, and live the country lifestyle through the eyes of rural America. Join me, Clinton Griffiths, for Ag Day, the country experience.
Sirius XM's Rural Radio, your gateway to the rural lifestyle.
This is Rob Keck, host of Bass Pro Shops Outdoor World, with the latest information about hunting, fishing, and more.
This is Janet Atkinson, host of FFA Today, your in-depth look at the nation's premier youth organization.
Get connected with Real Ag Radio. This is Sean Haney, and along with co-host Kelvin Hepner, we'll talk markets, agronomy, machinery, and cover the real-time issues affecting farmers and ranchers in all of North America. Rural Radio, Sirius XM 147, or listen on the Sirius XM app.
We are back here in Shining Bright. We've been having a fun conversation. Lexi and Carly are here in the studio with me, and we are talking to Amy Tlach on the phone, and it is fair season. And Amy, when we went to break, you were telling me, I cut you off midstream of all the things that your girls are taking to the fair. I think you'd gotten through the pigs and a photography project, or a couple of them, right?
Yep. Yep. The photography projects, like I said, we're getting those all matted up today and waiting for them to dry. They also have each done a horticulture project. They've done a planter. One of them did an herb garden, and one of them did a succulent planter. So, in the succulent planter, if you happen to be at the fair, you'll have to check it out. It's in a pig planter this year, so it's a fun one that Abby's done. Maybe I'll have to send you a picture so you can see it, but. Yeah, it's we're on the downhill slide. So Saturday morning, like I said, is our judging. So we got about 48 hours before we get to head to the fair with those things.
You can do 40 more projects. That's the challenge.
So,
there's so much truth to that, Lexi.
This year with my kids, they're in Clover Kids. And this was the first year that I have actually physically been in the state that when we had to go do the fair stuff. And so this is the first year they've taken projects, even though this is Ava's third year in Clover Kids and she's moving on to 4-H. So it's we got to get with it, guys. So we were going to be gone. So before vacation, they each did one project, which I felt like I was woo, we did it. We have one project. AJ made a little tiny pillow and he actually sewed it, not straight, but it's closed. The pillow's in there. And Ava painted a little sign. And we get to the fair and I'm yes, we got our projects. And then we get in line to be judged. And I was all of these kids have 10 projects each. Where I thought we were doing so good because we had a project.
It's okay. Baby steps, Marji.
Yeah, we were there. It's okay, but.
My senior year, I was notorious for, I'd just get all my projects done and then want to do more. So I really liked refinishing woodworking. So I already had 2 things done. And I was sitting at the pool with my mom because I don't know why we had time or something.
In between your 48 projects.
Right. And the livestock were taken care of. It was super hot. So we went to the pool and we were sitting there and she was talking with her other 4-H moms about what kind of projects. And I was like, Mom, there's a dresser in our garage. I think I'm going to pull it out and start refinishing it. I had that sucker done in 7 days. And the worst part of it, I remember sitting in the yard crying because the mirror, it was an original glass mirror and the foil wouldn't come off of it. And I thought I was going to break it. And my dad was yelling at me because I should have started sooner. And finally it was you were supposed to use toilet bowl cleaner to get the stuff off of it. And then we were going to put another mirror behind it so it was actually clear. And I was squirting toilet bowl cleaner all over the yard on this mirror. And then he just comes up and throws paint thinner on it. And I'm bawling because I'm not going to have my last project to go to the fair. And all of a sudden the mirror starts peeling off. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay.
And drama.
It went to State Fair and it won a special award.
Yes,
it was all worth the tears.
It is. But on that note, that's fun. That's really funny. But it is so good for them to have a little bit of pressure, right? I mean, to go through those things and maybe have a little bit of tears because, that's a regular work day, right? There's pressure. There might be tears. There might not.
Dad's yelling at you for procrastinating on a project.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always think this time of year how much I need to thank my mother for being as patient as she was when I was in that, same state. You'll get there someday too, Lexi, but there's nothing and at early stages for me in 4-H, it seemed like I was sitting at a typewriter, which, is a whole different animal than sitting at a computer at this point to work on the goal sheet and all that stuff. But we owe a special, I don't know, thank you to our parents, I guess, for all their patience and, in your case, paint thinner and toilet bowl cleaner. So
you're right. They do need a blue ribbon for the parents or a honorary.
Yes, that's right.
You get something here too.
At that point, I was about to fire my dad, but he's back.
You can't fire him.
We're good.
Doesn't work.
Yeah,
he'd be fire me from what? I'm not getting paid for this anyway, kid.
Right.
On that note, so much preparation goes into it. I know it does. And Amy, we had a chance to visit your girls as headed into the state fair last year. But tell me a little bit about what they do to lead up to get some of these. Like you said, they've got a couple heifers. What are their months leading up to it look like?
Well, I think some people don't realize, I guess, how long ago these projects actually started. I mean, it's the last few days, obviously, and week and month, and even 3 months before are so important. But their preparation actually started months ago when they were selecting these animals that they wanted to take to the fair, which is in most cases the most important part. But their days now, they were in the barn this morning, and they're of the age where sometimes mom and dad's help is good, but we can do it ourselves, which is awesome, because those are the most important things that we want to teach them, is independence and decision making and all those things that go with it. So they're obviously feeding, they're walking pigs, they're working hair on their heifers, they're, doing, last-minute showmanship things like they did with you guys last year or last summer about this time, So they're putting basically the frosting on the cake at this point that they've been baking since January or even before that with their heifers. But yeah, it's an exciting time. They in our barn, I think you guys probably noticed last year, they have a countdown. It says how many days to the county fair and how many days to the state fair, and they throw a birthday and a fall show in there once in a while. But it's definitely a timeline that they work on, and they're diligent about doing it. So it's exciting as we get close.
And they are amazing young women. Lexi told me about them somebody, an organization here in Iowa asked me to show a steer at the governor's charity steer auction, which is raises money for you're laughing already, raises money for the Ronald McDonald charity. And it's run by the Cattlemen's organization here in Iowa. And so different organizations buy these steers, and then they have people show them, and then they asked me, and I was like, I told Lexi, and Lexi's like, maybe, have you ever done this before? And I was like, no. It's a cow. It's not a cow. It's a steer. And she's like, I know these girls. Let's go and let's test this out. Let's practice a little bit. So we went, and your girls were so patient with me. They showed me what to do, and their heifers were so nice compared to the steer that I actually had to show. That was a little rowdy, I felt. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, they were, it's clear that they are strong, independent young women, and they gave me a few pointers.
Yeah, it was really fun to sit with them the day when we were watching the Governor's Charity Steer Show, and you were in the ring, because I could sense their nervousness, much like I have when I'm standing on the side of the ring and they're in the ring. Their nervousness that day was for you, so they definitely could empathize with what was going on and the fact that things weren't going as planned, but yet, it's always keep calm. And the one thing is, we always tell them, don't cry. Don't cry in the ring unless there's, serious injury. Do that somewhere else if you have to do that. So we did good. Calm, cool, collected. That's our mantra.
And you guys told me that, and I kept that in my brain, because there was a few times where I kind of wanted to cry.
You did great.
When everyone was like, how did it go? I'm like, well, I didn't fall, and I didn't let go. And that's the best things I can say about what happened in the ring that day. But, it's okay. We all made it through. Nobody got hurt. And, I stayed somewhat calm. So anyway, a big thank you to you and your girls for having us out that day. It gave me a little leg up. So thank you, everyone, for joining us here on Shining Bright by FarmHer. Be sure to check out our events page at farmher.com to see where the FarmHerd will show up next. Whether it's Florida or California or somewhere in between, we have a lineup of great events, and we hope to meet you there. Stay tuned. We'll be right back talking to Amy Tlach here on Shining Bright.
Hello, I'm Janet Adkisson.
I'm Matt Breckwald.
And this is Mark Peschel, CEO of National FFA. Join us each weekend for FFA Today, your number one source for the best of FFA.
With chapter spotlights from across the country, conversations with FFA members and advisors, news, and more, FFA Today is your in-depth look at the nation's premier youth organization.
So tune in to FFA Today, Saturdays at 7:30 a.m., Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Rural Radio and the SiriusXM app.
This is Marji Geiler-Alanese, and this is a FarmHer Minute on Rural Radio. Let's meet FarmHer Shayla McCullers.
It's a hard life, but a very rewarding life. And growing up living off the land, it's a lifestyle for me. And being a rancher's wife, I came in knowing that ahead of time and knew that my husband needed that same support. But also I think that women involved in agriculture have so much respect from those on the outside, because we are salt of the earth. We are the women that are the strong backbone of America.
we're not afraid to get our hands dirty and work just as hard as the guys. And we've just been instilled with such great values and morals, and I think that it's due to the fact that we've been raised by a woman that's been raised by another woman in agriculture and instilling those values in us.
See FarmHer Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on RFD TV.
Hey, it's Flint Rasmussen from Outside the Barrel, and a huge show planned for this week. The winningest Canadian bull rider and retiring this year, Scott Schiffner, joins us from Canada. And the $100,000 winner in the barrel racing from the Calgary Stampede, the one and only Haley Kinzel. It's all on Outside the Barrel with Flint Rasmussen, Friday at 5 Eastern, 3 in the mountains. And again Sunday at 1 Eastern. Exclusively on Rural Radio, Sirius XM Channel 147 and the Sirius XM app.
And we're back here on Shining Bright. We've been having, again, a fun episode. Amy Tlach has joined us for the last few segments on the phone, and Carly and Lexi are here in the studio. And we've been talking about the community that kind of goes along with it and what we've all learned by being involved in these organizations. I'm sure we've all taken different things away, but Carly, I know you had something to throw in here.
Yeah. So Amy, I am a Marion County Fair girl. And we just built a house in Warren County. So I've been told that I need to become part of the Warren County family and community. So what is your favorite part of the Warren County Fair, any county fair that you've been a part of through 4-H or FFA?
I think you guys all summed it up, the sense of community. I think that, people get together and they work for one common good to highlight youth. I think if you look back, there was a thing recently in our local paper about the history of the, county fair and how they started, and you forget about why they did start, which was to, exhibit what people were growing and, their kids and things like that. So I think, definitely the sense of community is always present. And I think, it kind of, for most people, takes them back to their roots because everybody has a tie to agriculture, whether it was, 1, 2, 5, 10 generations ago, there is that tie. So it's just, it's a great highlight, I think, and it's kind of, we always joke that it's kind of like the biggest family reunion of the year, because all those people in different ways, and some of them you may only see once a year at the county fair, but it's like you just pick up and, your friendship continues and get caught up on the family and say, see you next year. So it's just a unique thing that happens across the nation. I think it's not unique to where we live. It's everywhere. It's just everyone looks a little different. So it's always exciting.
Speaking of communities, our little FarmHer community that exists all over the place. Last week when I was waiting in that line with all those people with all those projects, there was a lady with a FarmHer shirt on, and I was like staring at her. Staring. And I was super excited. And so I did go talk to her, but
Did you?
Yeah.
I always say, and most people don't know that I have any connection, and I see a lot of FarmHer shirts, but at the state fair, especially, I have a lot of friends I'll walk, around the fair with. And one night it was like 3 shirts, and every single person was like, oh my gosh, I love your shirt. It looks great on you. And I was just like a random person saying that comment.
Creeper.
Yeah. And finally at the third person, whoever I was with, I think it was my friend Joni, she was like, okay, you're done.
So on that note, it doesn't have to be seeing a FarmHer shirt, but Carly, do you have a favorite fair memory or something that you did at the fair?
Gosh, I can't think of one in particular, but like Amy said, it's really a big family reunion and family get together. We have the racetrack down at our county fair, the Knoxville sprint car track, and my family has always really been involved with that too. So being able to kind of converge those two communities was always fun to see everybody come together and have a good time while we were all there.
Community.
That's it again. I would say mine. So 2 years ago, I officially retired from showing livestock. And after I had a long, career, many years, and was able to have some success and have some loss. And I learned a lot from both. Mm-hmm. But I would say, Marji, my favorite, and this is really ironic because when you first told me you were going to come film my very last show for the FarmHer TV show, do you remember me saying,
You're like, I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah. And I was like, but we need to.
And I was like, but you don't.
You kept trying to push it off, and I was like, I'm not going to let it go. It's going to be good.
I'm so glad you didn't, and it ended up better than I ever could have imagined. But I knew
and
I
you won,
would.
so that
and
helped.
I won. Yeah,
could have gone the other way.
and either way, it was both an emotional hot mess because that's just kind of me in general.
Makes good TV, Lexi.
I know that's what, but we did have to wait 2 weeks for my interview because I couldn't get through it. Yeah. And the guys had to fly home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a pretty cool thing to get to watch from my perspective too.
That was your first show?
Yeah. I've been to pig shows. I've never watched one all the way through. I never showed pigs I didn't understand. And so when they like made you go off of the little show ring area, I was like, oh no.
I got penned.
And I thought, she's done. Well, that's a good thing I learned. So see, we all learn something all the time. But yeah, I obviously, like I didn't show livestock. I grew up on a farm. I grew up in the country, but it wasn't our farm. So there were cows. They weren't our cows, and my parents never had it just didn't work out to have livestock. At one point I thought I was going to have a horse. It was going to be very exciting. And then that didn't pan out, but we had, just your dogs and cats. And so I was at a farm in Texas, and these kids were talking about the animals that they have and that they raise and that they put in the livestock shows. And I didn't realize that there was anything wrong with telling them that I did show something too at our county fair. I showed my cat.
There is nothing wrong with that.
And I was like, yeah, I showed my cat. And these little boys looked at me like I had a fifth leg growing out of my back, like the cow at the Warren County Fair. And it's so funny because, but I was in an urban club, and so they had a pet show, right? And like, it was pretty normal. And my cat, I am going to dig out that ribbon because it was like a big rainbow ribbon. It won like not best of show, but like the second best of show.
You had a cool cat.
Which shocks me because it really wasn't a nice cat.
What did your cat look like?
It was like a Himalayan cat. It was like, had long hair. So it took a lot of grooming. So I feel like they probably were like, good job, you combed your cat, kid, but anyway.
What was the name?
Casper.
Yeah, what was the name of the cat?
It was white with a black face. And so, yeah, it was an experience, but I'm thinking back to thanking your parents. My mom let me and this cat was like a super high strung, not really a nice cat, like scratch people, hiss, type of cat. And, she let me take it. Like, I don't know if she felt bad because she didn't let me do a livestock project or something. Anyway, so that brings me back to when we were coming up with our projects for the fair this year, AJ was like, I want to show our dog. And I was like, absolutely not. Never. No. Because our dog is pretty wild. And so is AJ. And so that wouldn't have gone well at all. And there's no way to like work with it and train it. Like, it's just in it. It's like a slightly feral dog.
I love all of this. The pet show and the dog show are actually really big parts of
your
my county fair.
See, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think at our county fair, the pet show is something that it kind of ebbs and flows. It grows some years, and then it's but it's always one that it seems like is pretty big crowd, and it's fun to watch. Usually, if there's a dog or something that can do tricks, that's the highlight of the show. It seems like, but
we had a zebra one year.
What?
Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah. I just cut you off, but I just remembered that there was a zebra at the county fair.
Is that even legal to have a zebra?
I didn't.
Did they show it?
Yeah.
Really?
In the pet show.
Wow.
Okay,
that's
continue,
impressive.
Amy.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
what to
now
say.
that I all blew your mind.
No, at my county fair, I showed sheep, and I think I showed cattle one year, but sheep primarily. But I have to tell you, probably my best county fair memory is meeting my husband at the fair. So we were from opposite ends of the county, and we met, at the county fair. So that's probably my highlight, I would say, for sure, of things at the county fair. So
well, that's a pretty big highlight. I feel like
pretty big highlight.
Something that you can carry with you the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's a pretty funny story that. How we met. And I was actually working at the extension office as a summer aide. He's a little bit younger than me. Gasp.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Drama at the fair.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I meet so many people who agriculture has connected them. Amy, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a pleasure to get to talk to you here and share our memories of county fairs. I'm sure more memories are to come this year. So again, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Shining Bright. We will be back in just a few minutes.
This is Sean Haney. Every weekday, we keep the discussion going all afternoon on Rural Radio, beginning with Agri Talk at 2 p.m. Eastern. Then join Brian and Darren Hefty for Ag PhD Radio, taking your questions and calls daily at 3 p.m. Eastern. And it's time to get real and get connected with Kelvin Hepner and I on Real Ag Radio at 4 p.m. Eastern. It's a full afternoon of tips and tricks to boost yields and keep you informed, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, weekdays on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM.
The voice of agriculture. Kansas Farm Bureau. Participation in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program is declining. Data from USDA shows enrollment in SNAP dropped from its peak of 47.6 million participants in 2013 to 40 million in March 2018. Farm Bureau economist Michael Nevue says it's the lowest in 8 years.
The last time it was this low was in February of 2010. Since its peak in 2013, SNAP participation has declined by about 5.5 million people.
SNAP benefits are federally funded and based on an individual's need. Nevue says lower enrollment means less program cost.
According to that USDA data, in 2017, SNAP cost about $12 billion less than it did in 2013. What this really means is a decrease in federal spending levels on SNAP.
Listen again here for more from the voice of agriculture, Kansas Farm Bureau.
Did you know that your horse is nearly 4 times more likely to get rabies than your dog? And rabies in cattle, what do you think? I'm pro rodeo announcer and Emmy award-winning broadcaster Jeff Tigger Earhart.
Tigger.
Join me and the captain as we bring you those stories and more on the next episode of the Working Ranch Radio Show, Rural Radio, Channel 147 on Sirius XM.
Welcome back to Shining Bright. We have been talking about all things fair, and I'm super excited. I know I was at our county fair last week, but I'm super excited for the state fair, which is right around the corner.
20 days.
That makes me slightly scared, actually.
Same.
Yeah, the state fair, I have never missed a year of the state fair that I know of. Maybe when I was a baby, I don't really know, but I can remember going to the fair every year. Our state fair in Iowa, for all of you listening out there that may not be from Iowa, you're going to groan right now when I say it's probably about the best state fair that there is. I'm sorry, but
it's not even probably. I will stand on my ground.
True.
It is the best. And we would love for you all to come visit.
Yeah. So they welcome at the fair about a little over 1 million visitors usually every year. And, there's all kinds of amazing, it's such a great lineup. Actually, the person at the fair who does like so much of that booking of all that cool things that are going on at the fair, Tanya at the fair, she was my college roommate in like a weird twist of events. So there's people behind the scenes that work so hard. Emily is another person there. We'll be talking to her. So we're going to be doing some radio shows from the fair this year. What else is going on with our FarmHer presence?
So right in the radio show booth, we also have a big photo mosaic that will be set up, and you can get your pictures taken at the green screen with a FarmHer backdrop. It'll be printed off, and then you get to keep one photo, and the other photo goes on our mosaic to complete a beautiful photo.
Like a 20-foot long wall.
Oh, yeah,
We're
that's
constructing
important.
a wall.
A structure.
In the building, yeah. It's the building where the butter cow is. It's the most heavily traveled building of the fair. We do have a butter cow. Yes, that's a cow, a full-size cow sculpted out of butter at our fair. And so it's a pretty hot attraction. And so, we welcome people to come by. And the theme of the fair this year is State Fair Moments, right? And so we're going to give people those State Fair moments, and they can take their little picture home with them. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think I just read there's 10,000 pictures on that mosaic. So we need a lot of people to stop by and take pictures with us and really share and keepsake your moments. So also in the ag building, we're excited to move our merchandise booth into that area this year. We have been in the trailer, but it'll be a lot easier to find us there with our merchandise, just right across from the big display.
Yep. So if you come into really any door in that building, we're right there smack in the center, and then our merchandise is kind of off to the side. But yeah, it's a little different for us. We don't have our big FarmHer trailer out there this year. I've already had a few people ask me about it, and I've made sure to tell them, like, when you don't see the trailer there, don't stop. Come into the Ag Building and come find us, because we've got you've been working really hard, Carly, I know, to get all of the cool merchandise built up that we have. We've got a new State Fair t-shirt, right? Like a limited edition one.
Yeah, I'll be getting that one soon, but Lexi and I just brought in a lot of new boxes to the office. So we're really excited to get those displayed and share those with everybody.
Awesome.
Talking about all this just makes me so excited for the fair, for our booth, for the friends that you get to meet up with. That's my favorite part. But my stomach's growling and I can't wait for the food.
Yes. So on that note, Lexi, what is your favorite fair food? What do you wish you had in your hand right now?
I would take brisket mac and cheese all day, every day. It's from the Rib Shack. Yes. It's delicious.
It appeared on your episode in the TV show. It's that big of a deal.
I was at the fair 10 days last year. I ate 6 mac and cheeses. And I pair it with a lemonade shake-up because that screams State Fair.
They're so good.
There you go. Mine would probably have to be the cheese curds. I love cheese curds. Or the pickle dogs. They're new. I think they've been there for about 2 years now. But
what is it?
Yeah, so it's just a pickle covered in cream cheese and ham, and then they deep fat fry it. Because you need deep fat fried stuff when you're at the State Fair.
Everything's fried and on a stick. So I would have said my favorite, like there's this Pertley's General Store. It's on that hill going up, and you can walk up to the window out front and buy a huge dill pickle. And I love them. My mouth just started watering. Actually, I shouldn't be talking about it, like drippy, and I'm going to drool here. But I think I need to try that. And then last year I had something new called the Tachos, tater tot nachos. Yeah. Super good.
Also, the cup of cookies that is home to the Iowa State Fairgrounds.
Like melty little gooey cookies.
So good.
Yeah, that reminded me of one more that I love. I mean, I like a lot of food, but it's the peppermint sandwich.
Oh, yes.
What do you call it?
Bowders, peppermint. Yeah. Yes.
The home of those
peppermint
are
ice cream
at Bowders, and it is 2 blocks from my apartment.
Yeah. Those are super good. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like,
so I've been getting them all year.
Cookie crumbles.
And you didn't share.
They melt fast.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we go to the fair to work, but we like to have fun and eat while we're there too. So on that note, just as a reminder, if you find yourself anywhere in the vicinity of the Iowa State Fair, Carly, Lexi, and I, one of us, if not 2 or 3 of us, will be there pretty much all of the time through 11 days of the fair. Come get your picture taken at our booth, take your moment home, and we'd love to see you there. So we'll be smack in the middle of the agriculture building. Just find the butter cow and you'll find us. And this has been a super fun episode. Thank you for listening to Shining Bright. Thank you for listening to Shining Bright by FarmHer. Be sure to tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern and Saturday at noon Eastern on Rural Radio 147 and the SiriusXM app. And now, go shine bright.